Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader? Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
And welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy Monday. It is that time again. Koofy Cat, Bryce, Bob. What's up, guys? Everybody in the house here. We have quite a few people on the stream right now. I didn't see everybody that come in, so I apologize if I missed you. Welcome, everyone. We've got a nice crew here. I got to tell you, the plan, honestly, it was great, but they didn't make it easy for sure. I was absolutely pointing to the upside today, and they failed our major spot after testing it last night. So we're going to get into what I think is actually could potentially see what happens. So it's going to be interesting. We still haven't lost on the daily time frame. So technically speaking, we're still pointed up. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But we have some mixed reviews, I guess you could say, between SPX and ES. So we'll go ahead and talk about all that. Oh, man, Cupid Cat, what's up, brother? And we had some really cool stuff happen in VIX today, which is really interesting. And so, yeah, I can't wait to get into it. We're going to keep it short and sweet today because obviously the week in review is a higher time frame ordeal. And so we're going to talk about the plan. We're going to talk about what played. And then we're going to talk about potentially what we're looking at for tomorrow, just to kind of get a little bit bigger picture here. But so let's go ahead and get right into it. Shall we? First and foremost, as usual, guys, you know the routine. Make sure you smash and like, across all the socials here, YouTube, X, Substack, and TradingView. Smash, like, retweet. Let's get that follower count up, guys. Let's spread the word. Let everybody know what's cooking. The other thing is if you are looking at the post here, you probably saw it in today's plan or yesterday's plan, as well as in this post right here. I am doing a webinar that I do once a month. It is going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m. I highly recommend that you tune in. This is all about how to take $1,000 of your own money and turn it into $10,000 a month, potentially with prop accounts, leveraging someone else's money. I actually have done this webinar one time, and I have a handful of people in the inner circle right now who are just absolutely raping the game, doing the exact same thing that I've instructed them to do with the same copier, same prop firms. And one of the guys I'm going to highlight today is due for another payout. So pretty excited about that. So definitely recommend that you sign up for this. The link is in the post. And if not, it's in the trade plan. If you don't see it's in the trade plan from Sunday, just go in there and hit the link, sign up. So definitely let's make that happen. So let's go ahead and get right into it. It looks like my stuff is a little mixed up here, so you'll have to apologize. I'm going to just take it nice and slow. Nice and slow here. All right, let me see if I can move myself out of the way. Can I? No, get right out of the way. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hide myself. All right, so here we go. So I went ahead and took a picture of this. Was straight out of the plan here. As you guys can see, we have a big above below arrow on the 96.50 area. This is the big make it or break it. As you can see, there's only down arrows underneath this section and only up arrows above it. So that is a big first indication. Of course, the weekly is the same way. And guys, this was taken directly out of the trade plan on Sunday. As you can see here, this is leading us all the way down underneath 55, and so on and so forth, potentially all the way down to 63. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, just pointing certain things out. Okay. So right now we had that we have the title here. And of course, I want to break down something in the subtitle here, which is we're going to break down the 96 to 02 major support confluence. That's this area we're talking about right here. And the 76.28 main leg down. That is this big red area. If you guys recall, we pushed up hard on Friday after testing 55, after the Trump tweet flashed us and sent us right up into the 76.28 daily. And guys, and we even talk about this in the trade plan. I'm going to get into this. As we came into the daily, I wasn't ultimately worried about it, but after a little bit more review in the weekend review, I actually break down into detail why this level is, so important and such a big deal. So very interesting. And we're going to talk about SPX and the difference between SPX and ES when this little review is over. So let's go ahead and get into it. After 4 or 5 weeks of balancing, which you can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, weeks of balancing back and forth in the same weekly range, all these pops and drops, well, we've really gone nowhere. And I think that's essentially applied for today as well, which we'll get into. On the ES, the picture rhymes perfectly. The key levels to burn in your memory banks are the previous weekly value area high at 02, the point of control at 86.75. These two are going to be absolutely massive. Right. And so our old weekly at 75.99 now sits within 3 points of the 02 value area high. This is a very defined week. We know exactly what to play to continue higher and where it all goes bad. Everything hinges on the 75.9650/02 major support confluence, a daily 4-hour weekly and previous weekly value area high all stacked together. And you hear that, guys? Say it with me. Say it with me. My only area of untested support. Hold it and we keep trucking higher. Lose it and we lean on the 75.86 previous weekly point of control, which we're going to talk about. And then it thins out fast down to the 75.44 4-hour and the 25.27 previous weekly value area low, where everything goes bad. On SPX, mirror that with 75.54 as the main bet, which is the same thing as our 96 up here, right? And then also underneath that, the 7,500 as our big make it or break it. Keep VIX as your barometer. It closed weak, but do not get complacent, y'all, in the $13 or $14 handle, because knee-jerk reversals often can happen. Okay, I don't know what happened here. Knee-jerk reversal. Oh, a knee-jerk reversal off the 1449 can send the indices down fast. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into that next, obviously. So let's go ahead and pull that up here. This is where we're going to start before I go any farther. I wanted to show you guys this since this is nice and fresh. Take a look at this. This is good stuff. This was right as the market opened. Look at this test of this 96 in this 01 area. This is our big major confluence here. The 02 is the previous weekly value area high. 99 is the weekly. 96 is the 4-hour. 96.50 is the daily. The whole ball game. This is the whole ball game on the support side. This is my favorite spot on the board. We have a daily at 96.50, a 4-hour here, a weekly, This level is super fat. We know how many times the 99 has sent us down prior. It gave us a gorgeous test from the bottom side. where we at from the bottom side. And we have every reason to believe 96.50 through 99 provides a fantastic reaction. This is the true major support we need to hold. On the back test, look for a reaction here and a reclaim for progression up. Now, what do we say about this big warning here? Big warning. If 96 to 99 does not hold, we could potentially come all the way down to 74, 63, 50 because everything between here and there is tested. This is the line in the sand for the bullish thesis. And this was the open on Sunday. As you can see, we actually smacked that 76.28. That was right from the trade plan title. As you guys know, this was the big daily that we talked. This is the big daily that we talked about. The main leg down, this bad mamma jamma right here. And so that is the joint that sent us down and actually sent us down most of the day today. We came right down in our pocket and popped up super nice. They popped up well over about 20, 25 points in the overnight session, but it wasn't enough to get the job done. So I guess we got to heed to the warning here. We could potentially come all the way down, right? That's the whole concept. It played and then it didn't hold. So now what now, Ryan? Now what do we do? Well, that's what we know. We know what happened today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next level. Well, if you guys recall in that first paragraph that I talked about, let's actually pull that up. I'd be kind of curious here just to show you guys. Right here. Hold it and we keep trucking higher. Lose it and we lean on the 75.86.75 previous weekly point of control. Okay, you ready for that? Here we go. Here it is, 75.86.25. It was the previous weekly point of control right here. And we had the 4-hour level right here. This actually happened pre-market as well. I believe my man Bryce was asking everybody, hey, you might take that trade right here. You can see this is directly below the major confluence. It sits with the previous weekly point of control. Look how many times it's played from the bottom side, getting real love. You'd have to watch the video to see that, obviously. But the whole setup was is if the top confluence gives way, watch for 86 to play, get back above 99, right? And then for continuation higher and just watch and make sure it holds. And that was the big thing. Just watch and make sure it holds. As you can see, 86 and it's all the way up to 10. What are we talking about? 86, 96, 06. We're talking about 24, 25 points. Not bad there at all whatsoever. And we had 25 points played in the Globex session that came directly into our spot. So if you took both of the very first touches, that's well over 50 points on the day. Not too shabby. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about VIX. All right, so this was really interesting right here. So check this out. So you guys know I talked about VIX, and I talk about VIX all the time. I just mentioned it earlier, and I said, hey, every time we get down to the $15, $14, $13 handle, we get these ridiculous pops. And these pops can just send the indices down something wicked because, you know, we're so suppressed that it's just part of the market dynamics where, you know, things just get complacent and then they have to buy it back up. So check this out. We actually played that 14.95 to the tick on Friday's close. I mean, Jesus, how perfect is that, right? I mean, just ridiculous, right? So this was the big, I had a daily a little bit lower that I thought we could come play at the 14.49. It didn't quite get there. They played that. And I just really wanted to let everybody know that they played this monthly to the tick. And just like I said previously, if we get too low, that's when we really have to be careful. So I didn't really pull this out to talk about it. Really more what I wanted to talk about was the simple fact that once again, we were in the $14, $15 handle. We touched this lowest. I mean, this was the lowest monthly that I had, guys. I mean, we had talked about this not only in the week in review, but it certainly seemed like it could come a lot lower. As you know that I talked about, potentially coming lower here. But this was, I mean, so far down here. I mean, just ridiculous, right? And we actually looked for this sweep and reclaim last week. And that's exactly what they did under these lower levels. But they didn't just reclaim. They actually popped and held above our major monthly here at 1620. That you guys know we've played this a couple times last week. But lo and behold, where did we end up at? The 1744 to 1719. We've talked about this being the midpoint pivot so many times. At this point in time, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. This numbers here in general, these are just, they're starting, the levels are starting to get recycled. But once again, check this out. Look at that perfect touch. Look at this awesome hold. And then almost another perfect touch on this monthly. I mean, just the levels are playing so precise, which really it really helps a lot. As you guys know, it keeps our risk defined and really tells us where we think that things could stop and kind of paused for the moment. So this was a big spot for us to kind of chill out for now. And, we'll analyze this tomorrow when we open up and figure out where we're at for the plan. But I just wanted to show you how amazing this was and how we came down and touched this. And really, it's just one of those things where every time we get so low, we're going to pop. And when we do, it sends the indices down sharply. And there's nothing we can do about it. And this happens every single time we get an all-time high price discovery or even close to it. And so I try to warn everybody all the time. And I know I sound like a broken record, but this is exactly why. And you saw what happened today. They can really ruin our thesis pretty fast by just, having a little VIX pop. So pretty interesting stuff. So here's what I wanted to show you guys. Now, this is a 1 hour chart on ES or SPX. Now, I'm going to break this down to a smaller time frame, but I want to show you guys something here. And this is the paragraph for SPX. And this lines up perfectly. And as you can see, take a look at my arrows here, right? And so we have the 75.54 comes down below. I don't have another up arrow until we get to 7,500. Well, we talked about this earlier in the first paragraph. And then this is the 75.82 weekly, and above the 85, we make all-time highs, right? Well, let's go ahead and get into it. And then, of course, we have the 7,500 area. Look what I even put. Weakness below, but watch for the reclaim. Okay, you ready? So let's go ahead and read this. This says, we are here. Essentially right up at the weekly we talked about at 75.82 with the 4 hour at 85 beside it. This is our big resistance right now. We pushed right into it at the close, touching our upside target perfectly for an incredible Friday finish. On the support side, the big daily is 54.29. Imagine that. My last untested support, it lines up beautifully with the ES spot, and it is truly what we need to hold above to continue our momentum higher. If 54 fails, we do not have much until we come down about 50 points to 7,500, right? Recognize that, which would have to hold and then reclaim 06. 7,500 is the make it or break it. This is an untested daily, and below 7,500, it all goes bad for the indices. And let's just go ahead and zoom in here so that you guys can see. It says this is a massive spot. And I'm actually going to pull SPX over real quick. I'm going to get ahead of myself just so we can talk about it. But, yeah, you can see that, this was the spot. And if 54 didn't hold, I got nothing untested, right? Pink is an untested daily until 7,500. And then obviously there's nothing underneath 7,500 for long time. So tomorrow is going to be very interesting, especially because I got to be frank, I'm pointed up on my process right now. So today caught me a little off guard that they didn't actually rally it to the highs. They played our levels in the overnight session. And so that was kind of crazy. But let's just go ahead and take a look at this real fast. I want to show you guys this just so we can talk intelligently here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And it's actually the next slide is probably going to be the big reveal. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I should wait and do this after. But as you can see, guys, this was this big push up. And we actually waked this high and came right in here to this weekly level. And so we are really at this big make it or break it spot once again, 7,500. We talked about this a couple times. So we'll see what happens here tomorrow. I just wanted to show you exactly what was played. They waked these highs. If you recall, I even said, they barely missed this. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And then, of course, they actually got pretty damn close this time and then fell back earlier today. So let's go ahead and get to the next slide before I ruin everything here. So here you go. As you can see, now this is 3 different pictures of SPX. So I want to show you something really interesting. And this is really one of the things that you'll notice as you read my weekend review. I talk about the weekly gaining on ES. Now, mind you, I there's such a huge discrepancy between ES and SPX, especially since we've rolled over. And I don't know if you guys recall, but this rollover, this all-time high that was created was actually a rollover high. We actually rolled over into an all-time high, and then they faded back. So that's what this big red weekly candle was. This was our first rollover week. So as you can see, they closed above 75.99, which gave me an extremely bullish thesis saying, hey, we should come up to 76.48. And I still think it's possible. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say, oh, they fucked it up. And one day is certainly not going to deter me from that concept, but we'll see what happens tomorrow, right? And I just wanted to show you the difference because this is ES, right? But look at SPX. SPX failed to close above that weekly still. Now they did gain on the daily, but I just wanted to show you how different these two look, which really is night and day. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this ES Weekly because we're talking about SPX now, but I wanted to show you this. And then, of course, right here, this again is the 75.82 I brought over, and underneath 75.54. Remember me saying this is where it all goes bad. It has to hold. And look where we came down to. We basically touched 75.06. Here is the 10-minute chart right now, just so that you could see on SPX. We got super close to that weekly. We opened up. I actually was hoping that 75.54 was going to hold today. Thought we would try to fill this gap here, and they just couldn't get it done. And once they ended up below 75.54, it just peeled off something decent and came all the way down to 75.06. And as you can see right here, weakness below, and this is the 7,500 directly below this. So again, I really anticipated the 75.54 holding, but we knew from the plan that underneath that, it all goes bad. And the same was for 75.96. We don't ever know. So I don't want to come in here and say, this is exactly what's going to happen. We don't ever truly 100% know. We had Trump news today. In the middle of our long today, which I'll soon show you, we had Trump news again, and he fucking dumped the market again on some straight up Hormuz stuff. Unbelievable. I swear to God, 2 days in a row. This reminds me of the first term that I was dealing with this guy. I was trading his first term, and it was quite difficult. Let me just say that. So let's go ahead and go into the next slide. As you can see, so far our plan is working out perfect, other than the fact that we didn't hold the 75.54. So here's my first trade of the day, guys. We came in off of this 75.86. That's that level that I was talking about that I said Bryce wanted to know if anybody played. That was that weekly point of control. We played it. We got a sweet ass pop. And then as we started to open, we started to basically take off above 96. And then we got above the weekly. And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to jump up in this joint. I'm going to jump up in here, 75.99. You can see I'm about 11, 12 points in the money here. And then this is on a 1 hour time frame. We were shooting for both the overnight high, the gamma flip level, and then, of course, the 76.26, these areas up here. I was looking to take profits, right? Stop was underneath 91 because we already talked about it pretty much goes bad underneath that, especially now that 86 was tested. So check this out. So here it is on a 10-minute time frame. We're starting to go up. I actually took some profits here, right here at 10, secured about 11, 12 points, and we never made it back up. They actually ended up giving me this full stop down here on, it looked like 2 contracts, which was not a big deal because we had just made some money. So all good, but really just interesting that they didn't. You could even see that, I trade the plan. I trade my thesis. I thought we were headed up. That was my opportunity. That was their opportunity to get it going. They were 12 points in the money, and they just couldn't get it done. So very disappointing that they couldn't make those higher targets, but, it is what it is, right? So on to the next one. So here's something I wanted to point out to you guys that I thought was very interesting. So this actually was from the plan. This is from Sunday's plan. You can go ahead and check it out. You can see I clearly had above the 01. We continue to push higher. And then obviously below that, we come down into that weekly point of control above or below. Well, guys, you know that we played the weekly POC at 86. I just told you, popped for 25 points. And then ultimately it went lower. And guess what we have here? We have this big inefficiency that I pointed out on Free Alpha Friday. I said, man, they're not going to leave this for very long. That's going to have to get checked. That is the excess down to 59. And then this is today's profile. You can see they ultimately came all the way down and cleaned up that profile and wicked Friday's low, which was pretty standard stuff, but they targeted the inefficiency. So this is the kind of stuff that we look for. We always are aware of the market inefficiencies and where things need to get cleaned up. And it just so happens that they came and got it today. So that's what's up. So, wrong post. All right, let's keep going. So where are we at here? Give me 1 second. Oh, let's see. Oh, maybe that's it. So that was really, so other than that, we came down. So that's it for my personal trades. So we're going to talk about the market here in a second. As usual, I want to give a salute to some guys in the room. First and foremost, Robert. Robert is new to the room for us. He's been with us, I think, a little less than a month, 5 weeks, whatever. When I met Robert, he was having trouble rubbing 2 nickels together. Now Robert is doing 5 lucid accounts, and he's getting ready to get his payout. This was on Friday. He did 1,700 times 5. Today, he did 1,400 times 5, just absolutely crushing it. He's ready for a payout. He actually wants to do 5 more accounts, so he's starting to fish around and look for that. The other guy I have is Timmy. Timmy never even passed an eval until he took the course and came into the room. Now Timmy's putting up some major chips. Look at this guy. $416 is his biggest loss. Yet he's making $2,000, $4,000, $600. He did 6.6 thousand last week, and his biggest loss was $400. So I just want to give a big shout out to these guys. These guys are really focused on the process. They're working the plans, and they're really dedicating themselves to just being patient and waiting for the right setups, taking their money and get the heck out of the way. So I absolutely love what these guys are doing here. As you know, I always try to give somebody, if not a few people in the room, every single time I get on here some props, because we have some real killers in the room. And I just, these guys deserve all the recognition. So I'm here to give it to them. So congratulations, guys. And Jeff, good to see you in the room. Or good to see you here right now. Victor, you as well. TR's in the house. All right. Now, let's go ahead and just see where we ended up. I was gone. I came in right before the stream started, so I was a little late getting this done. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So, guys, this looks pretty crazy as far as where we're at in terms of things. I mean, as you can see, we talked about SPX. You know, above or below this 75.54 area was our big important spot to hold. They tried to play 37 multiple times, and then they end up coming down. Okay, so now we're all the way down at 56.06, and we got this 7,500 here. I mean, I find it's just crazy to me that this area didn't hold. I know we got a hellacious smack from this daily up here at 28, but my gracious, my goodness, what a smack, considering we just gained on all time frames on Friday. This took me a little bit by surprise, I won't lie. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I want to show you guys something super interesting as well. So as you guys know, we had Trump news today, something about the Strait of Hormuz or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, so this is our push up this morning. We were fishing for this. We had one level that I was telling everybody pre-market. I said, guys, make sure you take a look at 75, 77.25. This was a slightly tested. In my opinion, I couldn't decide if it was tested or untested. 4-hour, 1-hour level. They ended up actually stopping me out on that full stop, came down here. I didn't get pictures of it because it just happened so fast. We played the 75, 77.25. Held our 75.73 daily, catapulted us all the way back up. I thankfully was able to grab this in time, because this move down, it literally happened so fast. I think it happened I think somebody figured it out, happened in like 1.3 seconds. Boom. I ended up getting in about right here by the time my market data decided to actually start acting right, and I was able to take it up and basically work my loss back, but really just didn't get that follow through that we were anticipating or hoping for that they ended up giving us on Friday. We had the last flash. This one just didn't carry us higher, and now we're really kind of back in the real pivotal spot here. And as you can see, they got very close to testing 75.44 towards the day's end, which is a little unfortunate, because this is really one of the only major areas of support that I have here, unless we rotate all the way back down again to 74.63. I really didn't want to see them come down there. I'll be honest. I would have loved to see an all-time high. And I don't think it's necessarily out of the picture yet, but my gracious, I mean, this daily over here was just an absolute showstopper. I even talked about it in the plan and pointed out to everybody, say, I wrote this off at first, but I think this is pretty big. And of course, it's proving to be so today. So with that being said, I'm just going to pull the daily down so we can take a real close look just from a daily perspective. But, we really closing below 73 wasn't great. I'm going to be honest. That wasn't great. As you guys know, we've talked about this before. This is our big leg down here. We didn't lose on the daily time frame. They will still have to close below 07 to make that happen. So I still think there's a chance for them tomorrow. We'll see where they open at. I didn't look and see if they have any news. Tomorrow will be a very interesting day, because right now, we've created a big area of resistance right now back at the 96 area, which is going to be a huge problem for us to get back above. So we will see what tomorrow gives us. It will certainly be an interesting day. And we're going to have to be on our P's and Q's and be very patient as we wait for a setup, because once again, guys, we're doing it again. Look at this. Look at this. We literally are back in balance again. This is the previous weekly point of control. We opened back in the previous value area high, squeezed up a little bit, came all the way back down. We're basically dead center in the middle of last week's value, which is dead center in the previous week before that's point of control. I mean, we're just not getting anywhere. We're going back and forth, but we're not really making anything happen. And yes, I will admit right now, and I drew this, we have this nice little wedge going up on the weekly TPO right now, which leads me to believe that we could still continue this progression higher, especially because our process still hasn't lost support. Hang on, I'm looking for my pin to pop up right here. Here we go, so that you can see what I'm talking about. But we are truly still kind of pushing higher here. So we'll see. I mean, we got this big wedge. It's not over with yet, but it just amazes me. They had every opportunity to go ahead and send this higher. And instead we rotated back down, and we are right back in the middle of the shit, which is unbelievable. Look at this POC, POC, POC. And then here we are right here, which is crazy. So with that being said, that's it. That's it. That's the ball game. So, we'll wait tomorrow and see what happens. It was certainly an interesting day today. They had every opportunity to hold that last night and this morning. We got a nice pop off of it. As you can see, I was long. Many people in the room with me were long, and I didn't want to get out of it. I ended up taking the stop because I'm like, this level has to hold or we come down. Just like I said in plan many times, 75.96 to 75.99 is everything. And it was the same thing with SPX being the 75.54. If they can't hold it, it rotates 50 points. So, of course, I'm going to wait and see if I'm going to let it stop me out, because chances are we could, sit there and go. And they couldn't do it. They played it last night. They had a chance to hold it this morning. They came off some serious structure. No bueno. So, with that being said, the process played true. They played our levels in the overnight session. We came in this morning. They played a few other levels and kind of wiped all of our support coming into the morning. They had an opportunity to pop it, and they just couldn't get the job done. And so now down we come. So we'll figure out exactly where we open up tomorrow. It's going to be very important. I will certainly be at the computer early tomorrow to get the plan out for you guys, and I can't wait to actually crush it with you tomorrow. Today, I took a couple trades today. I took that long, which I had some profits, and then a stop, and then I took a short, which actually made up for it, and another long. So I took 3 trades today. Got out of the day by the skin of my teeth, but it wasn't a beautiful day. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow to give us a little bit better clarity and better price action coming into the day. And so with that being said, I look forward to conquering the markets with all you guys tomorrow. Inner Circle is going to be popping. I'll get the trade plan out for you at 8:30 in the morning. And of course, I'll be here at 5 o'clock. Don't trip. It might be 5:15, something like that. I got a new hire coming in today, so I got to make sure she's well taken care of. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Cheers, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Adios.